I mean, I have no idea why people keep messing around with this kind of stuff. You know, I mean, it's dangerous to do that. You know?
Yeah, it's like they almost have no options, man. And I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only like one, it's like 1 out of 20 UFC new fighters are actually gonna make a career out of it instead of just getting.
What's a career? What's a career though? Is anyone? Do you think any of them's gonna? I'm now getting ready to be 14 years. You think any of them, any UFC at all guys in the last 14 years? No. Fighting twice a year? Never.
Yep.
Never going to see that in America.
Yeah.
Never.
And you'd have to get lucky enough to not get injured, keep winning fights, stay at the top of your game, just to be able to maybe have a secure retirement quote in the business.
Or just take a bunch of TRT like Vitor Belfort.
Yeah, that's another thing. Actually, I'm sorry to quit hogging. I'm gonna quit hogging the mic, and I will give it back to the Ninja and Jake so that we can just. Bob, I do thank you for your time, man. I know it's going a little bit longer. I appreciate it.
No worries.
Cool. So yeah, Ninja, did you have anything else for Bob Sapp before we get over to Jake?
Yeah, I just for the people listening that might question what Bob Sapp's doing. I mean, like we talked about before. If you're not on TV in the U.S., nobody knows you. Nobody knows, how successful Bob Sapp's being, overseas. And, we were talking about, how much of a businessman, Bob is and how much of a business, each individual fighter is. And if you doubt Bob, Bob told me, look up all the products, man. Cereal and alarm clocks and sex toys and he's got everything. I
put out over 400 products, and I put out over 400 products. I made the cover of Time magazine. Done well over 4,000 TV shows, plus over 10 plus Hollywood movies. A CD in Japan, or a music CD in Japan. One in Korea, and I've been on every television show and major station across the world. And so, no matter where I go, I am recognized. And there's a ton of new stuff that, and I'll come out with a book here to just help some of the fighters and help anyone else that wants to market or be themselves to learn how to make their own business, because you can do it and do it respectfully and timely and really nice. So you can go out there and fight hardcore. It's no problem. Some of these countries, what a lot of people get mixed up in the U.S. is they think everyone's like the U.S. Some of these countries, they don't take care of their fighters. So I tell you what, who am I going to take as far as a fighter from Thailand that's going in the ring, that's getting ready to give his all, or am I going to take a fighter from America that's going in the ring that's giving his all? I'm going to take the fighter in Thailand. He knows he's going to be taken care of right afterwards. Hey, how about the fighter in America? Nope. All he knows is that his own people are going to down him and shoot him down, just like Ariel Helwani. Now, if you want a good example, here it is. Bob Sapp's only fought in the United States 4 times his whole career. 4 times.
Mm-hmm. And we still know who you
are. You hear all this Bob Sapp stuff. And that's just because I'm such a damn good businessman. They're unable to, notice they're never talking about anybody else in these other countries. And that's one thing that's so shameful. MMA Hour is talking about, we're finally giving these small organizations more news than they would ever get, more coverage than they would ever get, because nobody's watching them. What? You're MMA Hour. You're supposed to be watching. You're supposed to be reporting the news. What are you doing?
We were talking about the rules here in the U.S. and that hurts the business. Talk about that. I mean, how many times do you usually fight a month?
Oh yeah, you can go in there. I fought 4 to 5 times a month, and so are the paychecks as huge as the UFC for a single fight? No. However, are we having to sit the bench right after getting hurt or whatever? No. So that can help you and it can hurt you. You have to be careful so that you can avoid getting brain damage. And at the same time, you can go back out there and fight again. So, hey, if you're making, let's say, $10,000 a match, I tell you what, you can do that every day if you want. You go out there, you get 4 or 5 really quick knockouts, boop, 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 boop. It's all good. It's called to make a profit. And you can walk out of that month very profitable, right? That's going to be at least a $50,000 month.
Damn.
That's awesome.
I'd love to see that
awesome.
money.
You know, yeah, you know, I mean, so this is the stuff that's, what I want to know is like, see, you guys are the ones talking about it, so this is the ones people should be tuning in to listen to this. It's far from being tuning in to listen to, you know, I get people sometimes when they write me and they think, well, hey, you know, it's all about the contract. I'm thinking, do you know for a contract, if somebody breaks their contract, it's going to cost you $100,000 to collect $10,000. I mean, so it's unrealistic. It's strictly a straight cash for cash business. You go in there and you give the fans what they want. And the fans, what they want in different countries and cultures are going to be different all around the world. Stop assuming everyone is just like the United States in doing the pig-headedness, because they're far from doing that. The last thing they do is do that.
Yep.
That's right. That's right. We spoke about, you know, like my own martial arts training and how MMA really has no room for like true martial artists, and something that we talked about is, you know, me going out and kicking the stumps, you know, kicking the trees and stuff like Muay Thai fighters, and then you sprung some knowledge on me that just blew my freaking mind about how they do that. Can you educate the people, because that really pisses me off.
Some secrets, any secrets, Bob? Anything you can.
Okay. We just gonna give you just one small secret. Okay, so I want to make sure that, you know, at least you get some of these other guys when they're there, that, you know, they can still keep their mysticism part and all that.
Yeah, definitely.
But, you know, so we never want to give up too much stuff.
Exactly.
But, so I'll say it this way. Let's say it tastefully for those that are able to understand this. Let's see how we can do this. Doctors can perform surgery, and they can perform surgery with various numbers of chemicals, the same thing like dentists, that can provide you to have no pain. We call these numbing agents. Mm-hmm. There was a boxer, and I think his name was, Floyd Mayweather, or I think that was his name, and
yes,
he was using lidocaine in his hands or something like that to bring down some of the pain in his hands and stuff like that.
You can just throw.
Well, I guess I'm pretty sure those things work amazingly on the shins, especially when you're kicking boards and when you're kicking, you know, stones and stumps and all these kinds of things. So, you know, everything that you see, you gotta kind of make sure you believe it and understand that it's far from being real.
Yep, man, because every time I think about kicking something with full force, I'm always like, man, if I were to kick something right now, my fucking shin would probably break in half if I threw it full force. And then these people, and then you see, like, almost after every UFC fight, there's always the injury report. Half of them have their fucking hands broken. And you're like, wait a minute, that didn't numb up in 3 rounds. It didn't numb up in those few minutes. How did they keep going? It's ridiculous, man. I got to agree with that. We do have a caller. We have a caller from Queens. His name is Yao. Yao, you're on with Bob Sapp real quick. He has stuck on for a long time. But Yao, you got a question? What's going on, dude?
I do. First, Mr. Sapp, how are you?
Yes, sir. How are you? We're real good.
I'm great. I'm actually an amateur fighter looking to, you know, get into the fight business and, you know, fight professionally, everything. I just want to know if you have any advice to offer.
Yes. My advice, number one, is to be aware of that, you know, see the entire world, okay? Nowhere let just the United States just groom you. So, I mean, the entire world, they love fighting. They do respect fighting. So the first thing to do is just to have a plan, what weight you're going to do it at, how you're going to do it, and to go across the entire world to have a look at it. So it's called mixed martial arts. So that means you can perform some Muay Thai in Thailand. You can perform some shoot boxing in Brazil. You can perform some Brazilian jiu-jitsu or even some kickboxing and Kyokushin karate and Seto Kaikan karate in Japan. It's mixed martial arts. Do it all. You're going to do it all safely and do it responsibly, because these countries, number one, respect fighting, so they're going to take care of you medical-wise. And number two, what you're also going to do is, as you get stronger, use that money to have a goal for, okay, hey, I'm going to set myself up for the future for a home. I'm going to set myself into buy my own business, whether it's my own gym or whether it's my own continued business, or hey, whether it's to set my kids up to have a nice life, and I think that that's going to be the best thing, because in fighting, all they're going to do is just keep giving you fighters to fight. So that's why there's really never a ranking system, okay? Because, there's 7 billion people in the planet, so they'll just keep coming, And I assure you, you may feel like you can knock down the first million, but you're probably going to start slowing down at the first 100.
Nice. Jake from the MMA podcast, you're on with Bob Sapp. Before we just close it up here, you there, Jake? What do you got for the legend himself, the Beast?
Yes, sir. I got one fighting-related question, and then just a few quick, stupid little questions for you, Bob. Thanks so much for spending your time with us. The fighting-related question I wanted to ask you about, a lot of people think of Bob Sapp, and the first thing that doesn't, pop in their mind is you were a very successful kickboxer. You beat Ernesto Hoost twice. Hoost, if you're listening and you're not familiar with the name, really one of the best kickboxers ever to live. You were really impressive there in K1. What for you were the main differences once you were actually in the ring between mixed martial arts and kickboxing? And what do you think about the future of kickboxing, its popularity, especially in the United States?
Okay, now as far as for kickboxing, the differences between kickboxing and mixed martial arts is simple. Kickboxing, man, your pain is intense because you've got to continually stand up all the way through it, so the pain is intense, and so that's a little more hard than kickboxing. You got to watch out for knees, the pain to be more intense, and so with that. That's what I consider to be kickboxing is like one of the things that you really want to make sure and see if you can go as fast as possible, and to hurry up and get in there and get out of there as fast as possible, as opposed to MMA. You can kind of rest a little bit, ground them on the ground, hold them on the ground, then get your rest, get back up, and see if you can do something inquisitive to take over the victory. As far as the future of kickboxing in the United States, I hate to say it, but I think right now it's hardly going to be there. We're still working on letting everyone treat this as a sport, and to get this into the ring to where you see two combatants go at it, where they can talk about two combatants going at it without downing the other person and spreading so much hate. That's one of the reasons why we're talking about Ariel Helwani. Spreading hate, calling himself the MMA Hour, and then saying, well, who cares about small organizations? Who cares? That's what the USA does, and they do it with such extreme force that the sponsors just run the other way. So then nobody has any interest in it. And so let's take a look. And so here's what I want you to do. Quote me on this one, and let's see, how's this? There's a team out there, and it's called Glory. They have some excellent fighters out there. They're tough and they're awesome. Okay, the new group called Glory. Yeah. And
yeah.
Let's see if they make it out of this year. My everything from what tells me, from what I see, by the way people talk.
Think they're going to get buried?
Yep. I think they'll be done. And it's sad, too, because those guys are some of the best fighters out there. But you know what? Leave it to people like Ariel in these other sites that I see. But what we'll do is, if we get together and we start smashing, start showing what these people look like who run these sites of hatred and who run all of this bashing and bashing and bashing. Because, see, no one does that. They never do that in the NFL. They never do it in golf. They never do it in all this other stuff. They just strictly do this in fighting. And Dana White hates it. Everybody hates it. I hate it. So we just Let's just show what those people are. Let's show how much money they make. Let's show what they've done in their life. Let's show what they do,